Okay, today Rick Rubin is talking about looking for clues. I love this. Material for our work surrounds us at every turn. It's woven into conversations, into nature, into chance encounters, and existing works of art. When looking for a solution to a creative problem, pay close attention to what's happening all around you. Look for clues pointing to new methods or ways to further develop current ideas. It's actually something I've been thinking about lately as, we have AI rising and it can be an amazing tool, but what's happening with some people is they are leaning into AI for the source of their ideas, forgetting that the best ideas are all around us. It's in our surroundings. Again, like he said, it's in our conversations. It's in that nature walk we go on where we allow our mind just to be idle. We're not even seeking an idea, but we put ourselves in a place to receive great ideas, right? Sometimes if I'm here and I'm like trying to come up with ideas or I'm writing podcasts and it's not clicking, I don't force it. I just go for a walk. Maybe I go have a conversation with a friend. Somehow I find it's like the universe, the most high, whatever is working with us behind the scenes will tie in exactly what you need to succeed. He says, a writer may be in a coffee shop working on a scene and unsure what a character is going to say next. A phrase might be overheard in the chatter from another table that provides a direct answer, or at least a glimpse of a possible direction. He just said what I said. I didn't even know he was about to say that. I swear, Anja. We receive these type of messages all the time. If we remain open to them, we might read a book and find a quote leaping off a page, or watch a movie and notice a line that moves us to pause and rewind. For anybody that is a listener to our podcast on Spotify and Apple and other audio platforms, you'll notice that my podcast, the titles are just like one word, two words. It has no explanation. It'll be like shy away or new seed or sprout or no new downloads. That is literally me. If I'm just reading, one word will stick out and I already know that's a 15-minute conversation because it triggers something in my mind and my spirit. Or I'll just be walking about and I hear one word. Like again, no new downloads. That's an upcoming podcast I have. And before I even really know the magnitude of what I'm going to talk about, just that one word for some reason, those three words just speak volumes and I write it down and I know that's something I can explore. There's something there for me because I felt this attraction to that. Like, oof, this is why it's important to be in touch with ourselves. Sometimes it's the exact answer we've been looking for. Or it could be an echo of an idea that keeps repeating in other places, begging for more attention or affirming the path that we're on. These transformations are subtle. They are ever present, but they're easy to miss. If we aren't looking for clues, they'll pass us without us ever knowing. Notice connections and consider where they lead. Something interesting that happens to me is when I start an idea and I'm not in a rush to get this idea out, over the span of like 2 weeks, I'll consume, let's say, a podcast. And out of nowhere, this person may be speaking about something very similar. And I'm like, oh, I could tie that in to what I'm talking about. And as maybe a week or two goes by, all these external sources come around me and add into the process these little connections that would have never happened if I try to rush what I was doing, right? Someone left a comment on one of my recent videos lately. It's called Content Creation is the New 9-to-5 Trap. And someone said, wow, I listened to that SZA interview about a month ago. And the way you tied it in to this conversation was just magnificent. And that was me noticing connections. I was thinking about this idea, started to like work on the script a little bit. Then naturally I was just watching an interview with SZA. Boom. oh my gosh, she's saying exactly what I'm talking about, what I'm thinking. What a perfect way to tie it in and make it cohesive. So notice connections. This is why I always talk about we must be focused, right? Allow our mind to be idle. Because if we're always in a rush, right, we're always in the future, we're always in the past, we're literally missing out on all these connections and these ideas all around us. Literally, sometimes ideas are screaming at us, but we're in our mind. We're scrolling, not realizing, oh my God, the information I need to succeed is all around me. When something out of the ordinary happens, ask yourself, why? What's the message? What could be the greater meaning? This process isn't a science. We can't control clues or will them to be revealed. Can't force it. Sometimes it helps to have a strong intention to find a specific answer or to confirm a particular path. Other times letting go of that intention altogether can help you find your way. Ooh, letting go. Sometimes you have to deconstruct to construct back up. A key part of the artist's work is deciphering these signals. The more open you are, the more clues you will find and the less effort you'll need to exert. You may be able to think less and begin to rely on answers arising within you. This is why I say your creations should be a reflection of your spirit and your life, not the other way around. If you just go online and you're like, okay, what are the trends? What do people want? And what will I make? What can I create to get the most views right now in this moment? You're not actually diving into real experiences you are having, the ideas that are around you, wanting to funnel through you, use you as a beautiful instrument. So when you live your life in a way that is creative, you have downtime, you have idle time, you do things that inspire you, you make the effort to go have conversations with people and be present, you'll notice that ideas are abundant. I showed my girl the other day my Notion ideas, and I was like, yo, these are the ideas I wrote down yesterday. She's like, just yesterday? I was like, these are downloads over the last few weeks. When I go for walks or when I'm driving, I'll get little downloads. Maybe I'm just thinking. Maybe I'm listening to a podcast, and I'll turn on the voice memo on my Apple Watch, and I'll just record whatever thought comes to me. Exactly wait when it comes to me because I don't want to lose it. And then after a week, I'll grab all those voice notes, and I put them into my computer. And I'm like, look at all these ideas we have. None of these ideas came from Instagram or the internet. These ideas came from whatever that direct channel is we have with the divine, our own experiences and our own observations, which means they are real. And when we share them, it becomes a beautiful offering. You might imagine that the outside world is a conveyor belt with a stream of small packages on it, always going by. The first step is to notice the conveyor belt is there. And then anytime you want, you can pick up one of those packages, unwrap it, and see what's inside. A helpful exercise might be opening a book to a random page and reading the first line your eyes find. See how what is written there somehow applies to your situation. Any relevance it bears might be a chance, but you might allow for the possibility that chance is not all that is at play, right? Magic is working with us behind the scenes. Understand that. I've been creating things, and in the editing process, certain clips and sounds just align together. And I'll be honest, I didn't even intend for it to happen. It's almost like it just fell into play. And I'm like, man, I was like, you just working with me right now. But Rick Rubin says, when my appendix burst, the doctor who diagnosed it insisted that I go to the hospital immediately to have it removed. Jeez. I was told there was no other options. I found myself in a nearby bookstore. Standing out on a table in the front was a new book by Dr. Andrew Weil. I picked it up and I let it fall open. The first passage my eyes went to said, if a doctor wants to remove your body and they tell you it has no function, don't believe this. Wow, look at that divine alignment right now. The information I needed was made available to me in that moment, and I still have my appendix. When clues present themselves, it can sometimes feel like the delicate mechanism of a clock at work, as if the universe is nudging you with little reminders that it's on your side and wants to provide everything you need to complete your mission. That's why I always say that you have all that you need to succeed. Look for what you notice, but no one else sees. This is the source of great ideas. Practice. I love the simplicity in this book. Like you don't even have to read this book in a linear fashion. You could just flip to any chapter and just embody that for the day, for the moment. It's not, to me, I haven't even read this full book. To me, it's not really a book you read front to back in in a couple sittings. It's a book you live with, That's why I call it a creative Bible. In the wild, animals must narrow their field of vision to survive. A tight focus prevents distraction from critical needs. Food, shelter, predators, procreation. For the artist, this reflexive action can be a hindrance. Widening one's scope allows for more moments of interest to be noticed and collected, building a treasury of material to draw from later. Like I just said, as I'm going about my life, I got my Apple Watch. Ooh, idea comes to me. I pop it in. Don't even think much about it again. Come back to it later, and I have all this material to draw from later, just like he says. A practice is the embodiment of an approach to a concept. This can support us in bringing about a desired state of mind. When we repeat the exercise of opening our senses to what is, we move closer to living in a continual open state. We build a habit, one where expanded awareness is our default way of being in the world. The things you create is a reflection of who you are, of your being in the world. You can go to a cafe like I do on Saturdays, sit there and just stare and people watch and have an abundance of ideas for the rest of the month that you can explore, right? Simply through your own awareness, your own observations. To deepen this practice is to embark on a more profound relationship with Source, with God. As we reduce the interference of our filter, we become better able to recognize the rhythms and movements around us. This allows us to participate with them in a more harmonious way. When we take notice of the cycles of the planet and choose to live in accordance with its seasons, something remarkable happens. We become connected. We begin to see ourselves as part of a greater whole that is constantly regenerating itself. And we may then tap into this all-powerful propagating force and ride its creative wave. This is why I say for myself that the creative practice is a spiritual practice. It's a personal development tool. It unites me with life. It's an accountability partner. It's a exploration partner. It's all of the above. You can feel that essence and that tone in this book when Rick is going through, because he calls it the creative act, a way of being. The creative act isn't something he just goes and does in the studio. It's the way he lives his life. It's the way the mind operates, right? When we go to school, they kind of teach us to do what? To just be workers, right? To be followers. But a creative mind is naturally a revolutionary mind, right? One rooted in solutions. It can lead, it can follow when it need be. It's a student, it's a teacher, it's all of the above. It can widen its scope and it can narrow its vision when it knows exactly what it needs to do. To support our practice, we might set up a daily schedule where we engage in particular rituals at specific times every day or week. I do this myself. The gestures we perform don't need to be grand. Small rituals can make a big difference. We can decide to take 3 slow, deep breaths upon awakening each morning. This simple act can set a course to start each day still, centered, and in the moment. We might also eat our meals mindfully. What am I? He's talking about how your life, you're living your life in a creative way that supports your creative essence, right? Mindfully, slowly savoring each bite with appreciation. Take a daily walk in nature, looking at everything, entering our field of vision with gratitude and connection. Take a moment to marvel at the feeling of a heartbeat and the movement of blood through our veins before our sleep. The purpose of such exercise is not necessarily in the doing, just as the goal of meditation isn't in the meditation. The purpose is to evolve the way we see the world when we're not engaged in these acts. We are building, what is this word? We are building the musculature, I can't even say that word, of our, we are building the muscle of our psyche to be more in tune with ourselves. This is so much of what the work is about. Awareness needs constant refreshing. If it becomes a habit, even a good habit, it will need to be reinvented again and again. This is why I always say don't be so married to your habits. In one season, you may have this rhythm and this routine that's absolutely amazing and allows you to be connected with the world. And then in another season, it's going to need tweaking. Like I always say, don't our old ways may not serve us in this new space. It's a constant experimentation until one day you notice that you are always practicing awareness at all times, in all places, living your life in a state of constant openness to receiving. Do you practice awareness only when you're in meditation or you're learning about the topic? Or is that the way you live your life? Simple. Are you naturally an observer? Do you allow the mind to be idle? When you are you eating things that are going to nourish your mind, body, and spirit? Do you engage with things that nourish your mind, body, and spirit, right? A creative individual is living a life in a way that allows them to explore the world and see the world in a creative lens. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Oh, I can even take that and make something beautiful with that. That's good inspiration right there. Having a conversation with somebody, oh man, that's interesting. I want to dive deeper into that. Everyone's saying the world's about to end, but for some reason you see an opportunity instead. Oh, you see, because you have this optimistic filter, these lens on your eyes because of the way you see the world, because of the way you live your life. I'm a very optimistic person, but it's the way I live my life that also forms that lens. Living life as an artist is a practice. You are either engaging in the practice or you're not. It makes no sense to say that you're not good at it. It's like saying, I'm not good at being a monk. You are either living as a monk or you're not. We tend to think of the artist's work as the output. The real work of the artist is a way of being in the world, is a way of being in the world. When people say, oh, I'm not the creative type or the artist type, I'm like, that's impossible. You're a human being. You're a human being. Every human being has creative abilities, has an inner artist within themselves. An artist isn't someone that just makes music or paintings. That's what we often think. Like he said here, we tend to think the artist's work as the output, the final thing. Oh, that is an artist. No, an artist is just the way somebody lives their life, they embody, their theology to life, their philosophy, the way they move in this world. And that is a practice, right? It's something you develop and you live and you develop that rhythm and that consistency and that pace. And it just becomes who you are, your way of your being. Submerge the great works. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's give it a quick moment to breathe and just absorb. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this guy was saying how he used to read 52 books a year. So that's a book a week. And then after a couple of years, he realized he didn't remember anything from all those books. right? This is why I'm a firm believer that make sure that the things you absorb, you can also apply, or that you are applying them into action. We ought to, sometimes we think we need more information when really we need to practice applying the information we already learned. This is why a lot of times I bring similar topics and weave them back in because, and this is also why I created the reminder deck. A lot of times it's not new information that we need, but it's the reminders, it's the things we already know that we aren't living or embodying, right? It's not new information to tell someone that patience is important in life. Everyone knows you need patience. But if you're not practicing patience, if you're not embodying patience, guess what? You need to hear that again. You need to absorb that and apply that into your life. It really be the simple reminders that can transform and change our life. It's not always not all this new information. Oh man, this is oh my God. This guy always calls me. Like, stop. I bet you anything. My apologies. I bet you anything he knows I'm on live stream right now and did that. I bet you anything. uh Sorry for that little interruption there. Quality over quantity. I'm actually doing a lesson on quality and quantity in our creator sphere, our creator, the school of sight, we're going to call it, but the creator tier, and how obviously quality is something we should focus on. But when quantity is important as well, right? There's actually an art to quantity that can reveal a lot out of you. But your why is really important and why you're doing quantity. And I'm talking about creating. But when it comes to consuming information, yeah, definitely quality is going to be a 101. Submerge the great works. Broadening our practice of awareness is a choice we can make at any moment. That's interesting. He's saying you can practice being more creative at any single moment, because being creative is not just when you're painting, when you're producing. Being creative is also your awareness, the way you see the world, and you can practice that 24/7. Broadening our practice of awareness is a choice we can make at any moment. It is not a search, though it is stoked by a curiosity or hunger. A hunger to see beautiful things, hear beautiful sounds, feel deeper sensations, to learn and to be fascinated and surprised on a continual basis. In service of this robust instinct, considering submerging yourself in the canon of great works. Read the finest literature, watch the masterpieces of cinema, get up close to the most influential paintings, visit architectural landmarks. There's no standard list. No one has the same measure of greatness. The canon is continually changing across time and space. Nonetheless, exposure to great art provides an invitation. It draws us forward and opens doors of possibility. Make an effort to go and consume art and creative things offline. Go to the museum, go to a show, go to a comedy show, go to, I don't know, the opera, go to your favorite artist's musical show, go to an open mic, go to a restaurant that has the chefs visible and they, flip the fire around, right? Consume these things offline. Absorb it. Later on, these inspirations, these experiences will pour back out into the things that you create on a subconscious level too. You won't even have to think about it. It's just a part of it. This is why I say, the things we create is a reflection of who you are. Everything that you think, feel, experience, you carry that energy within you. When someone says, I can feel your energy through the screen, what are you feeling? You're feeling their experiences. You're feeling what they cultivate offline. A lot of you have said that to me, man, I could feel your energy through the screen. I feel better. You're feeling how I live my life offline. And energy is contagious. It's powerful. It could pour through a screen. Beautiful stream today, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Again, this full replay in its entirety will be in our chill space with no ads, no interruptions, none of that. And it's a way you can partner with us. If you believe in what we're doing here, this is a culture, it's a community. And that is basically why I created that space. It's an opportunity for us, for you as well, to partner with me and what we're doing here to support the channel so we can create a space that's not really I just want to break all the rules, all the YouTube rules, and just be like, listen, like we're just doing our own thing over here. We're not worrying about these silly games. We're creating things that are beneficial, things where we can focus through, we can have community through, and the chill space is going to be a place that I believe is going to be really good for self-transformation. It's not just about extra content. It's about self-transformation, community, and simply accountability. So think about joining us and catch me on the next stream. See you soon. Thank you for tuning in, but I'd love for you to consider something. Joining us behind the scenes of the #1 chill spot. This is a place where you get exclusive content, guided meditations, a space for members to chat, plus all the stream replays are exclusively in our chill space, and you get access to our stream calendar so you do not have to miss another stream. This is a ad-free, distraction-free space, a safe place where you can go on the internet, ground yourself, connect. It's a space curated just for you. Mobile app and desktop version available. Just click the link in the description. Think about it. I'd love to see you there.